आपादमौलिपर्यन्तां गुरूणामाकृतिं स्मरेत्येन विघ्नप्रणश्यन्ति सिद्धन्ति च मनोरथः लक्ष्मीं तनोतु नितरामितरानपेक्षमङ्गलद्वयं निगमशाखिशिखाप्रवालम् हैरम्बमम्बुरुहडम्बरचौर्यनिग्रं विघ्नात्रिभेदशतधारधुरन्धरनः सर्वेषां स्वागतं. Welcome to the Bhashya session for 89th, 90th and 91st shloka. So here we talk about something called Vimana. Now, what is this Vimana? We will try to understand it. Uh, there are different interpretations. I'm going to give you a modern interpretation also. Modern interpretation says that Vimana is a spaceship, or at least it looks like that. So there have been many theories on this. Scientifically, some of them have explained that the akara of the Vimana looks somewhat similar to what we construe or what we can think to be the modern shape of a spaceship or something like that. So, technically, there are kathas where it clearly says that the celestials, the superior beings, we are talking about Venkateshwara, or we are talking about Shiva, etc., etc. They all came from a different realm, different uh, dimension of existence, and they came and they landed over here. So, the example for this is if we go to Tirupati, in Tirupati, there is a place where it says that Torana, there is a place where it says that that is where Sri Venkateshwara landed, and that is through that spot itself he entered the physical or the bhumi, the Prithvi Loka. In the same way, Gudimallama temple says that the linga that is constructed, that was brought, it is not constructed as such, it was brought to Prithvi Loka through outside carriers, and therefore the nature of that linga is not a substance that is available on the earth. Maybe it is an asteroid or something like that. So, Vimana. So there are many such ulekhas that we find in our kathas and all that, but this is how this is to that extent where we can interpret it. Now, how much of it is true? What is the scientific evidence? These are theories. There is no such evidence as such because there is a restriction we have among ourselves. We cannot probe religious artifacts so much because of our own beliefs. So, because of that reason, it is only to that extent. Now, as far as this shloka is concerned, where it says that even the Vimana of Vishnu, of Narayana, if that pradakshina also if we do, that means Vishnu Vimanam Yah Kuryat, the one who does that with bhaktya, then that person will end up earning or end up collecting so much punya or phala equivalent to Sahasra Ashwamedha. Why this particular Vimana has been mentioned over here is because in many Puranas, what we see is the carriers of celestial beings do not have any power on their own. They are fueled by the power of the rider. Like, for example, if we have to take during the Kurukshetra war, what happens is Indra sends his uh, chariot to Arjuna. In the same way, Karna gets Surya's chariot. So here what is happening is the object, the carrier, that Vimana, it has its powers not because it is built in a certain way. It is not built out of a superior metal or etc. etc. No. they absorb the energy of the deity that they are carrying. So if you're talking about Surya's chariot, then he absorbs the energy of the sun, and therefore that particular amsha is there, and therefore anybody who's using that chariot, they will be benefited through it. So it's like that. So there are many such beliefs. For example, the biggest one is those people who do japas. Those japas, they usually do not allow anybody else to touch the touch that japamala. Reason is being due to continuous usage of that japamala would have become would have been energized continuously. This is how tantras work. Continuous chanting of that. Somebody would have chanted. We would have seen some tantra, some Shri yantra, something like that. That yantras we would have seen. How they are done is through abhimantrana, through yajnas. They would have been energized. So those, because today we don't have that kind of inclination or the time to chant something so many times and then attain that siddhi. So to help that, these yantras, which are done by professionals, the one who conduct the yajna, sudarshana chakra, all those things, yantras, when they do that, what happens is those yantras which are of a certain metal, it starts to collect that particular chant, that energy that we are trying to invoke, and it tries to store it. Now, when somebody else takes this yantra and then they do the same kriya, it amplifies. I may not be able to, I may not be capable of chanting something thousands of times, but by using that particular yantra and then performing the same kriya, I'm able to amplify the effects of that kriya, of that patana, of that chanting. So using that has helped me. In the same way, this Vimana, which was said to be powered by the celestials themselves. That means if I say it is the Vimana of Narayana, then his Amsha would have been stored in that. Therefore, even the Pradakshina of that particular Vimana would yield some kind of power. That means it would give some phala, and that phala is much more than what we can earn than going to different places, like for by doing some certain other kriyas without the help of this. This is like saying that there is a technology. The technology is, let us say, Bluetooth. Using a Bluetooth device would help me hear the sound that I want to hear more clearly, rather than there is, it is not the only device, or it is not, it may not, it is not even the direct source of that sound. I may be hearing it through some media outlet, some output device. Maybe there are speakers, maybe there is a computer that is playing that particular sound. I can hear it from that device also, because even that device also has the outlet. It has the output organ. But using a particular device which has been specifically energized, or which has been, which the capability has been added to directly deliver something, using that will amplify the effect better. So like that, the Vimana which is meant to carry somebody very important, that person, that person's energies also would have come into that Vimana. Therefore, when I even do the production of that Vimana, it becomes a little powerful. So rather that is, this is the concept of the temples also. Because when it is only the point of praying, I can do my prayer in my house also. I can do my prayers in a room. I can do my prayers in my area itself. There is no need for me to go to any temple. Why is there a necessity for me to go to the temple? Because that has been energized in a certain manner. Maybe there is strong magnetic polarity. Maybe there is something else. So whatever I am doing, the prayers, it may not be that energetic because it depends on my mood, it depends on my ability to chant, it depends on many other factors, keeping in mind my bodily conditions. But going over there and doing the same one, same amount of chanting, same amount of praying, it leads to amplification. So that is the concept behind it. And this has been mentioned in Laugakshi Smriti, Laugakshi Bhaskara, I think it is from them. So Smriti, as you all know, it is the it is a text which mostly deals with social order. Smriti also, in a more broader sense, is a part of the Shruti Smriti Parampara. Now, Laugakshi is a name that we find from Artha Sangraha, who's more closely associated with Karma Kanda of the Vedas, interpretation of Karma Kanda. Laugakshi Bhaskara has written a script called as Artha Sangraha, which defines and which explains the uh, concepts behind the yajna, the adhikari, the bhavita, all those things, the elements that is involved in doing a yajna. So in this also it is mentioned that if we do the pradakshina of somebody who has done the pradakshina, then we still get some phala. Same thing. That means here it is saying one person, that is one of the reasons, when one person goes to Kashi, that person comes back. Meeting that person is also considered as punya. So like that, there is a transition of energy, carryover of that energy from one. It is like how um, the sunlight is transferred in the food chain. So it transfers from the person who takes up who is directly receives the sunlight. That person is able to get only 10% of what the sunlight is there. Then eating, let us say the greens are the ones which directly receive the sunlight. Now, eating that, herbivores get 10% of that. So some amount of that energy is passed on. So that is the understanding. So that is what is mentioned in the Smriti. And that is the reason why it is very important that we do not share um, the instruments of our sadhana to anybody else. If I'm say I am using the japamala for my sadhana, for chanting or anything like that, it should not be shared with anyone because it will be energized with mine. My energy would be a part of it. So I shouldn't share that with anybody else. So that is one of the biggest examples of this concept involved over here. So here with bhakti is a separate thing, but why an instrument, a manifested instrument only, why it has been made a center of these slokas, these two slokas, and the next one also goes a little like that only, but they talk about Tirtha Koti Sahasrani and all those things. But why manifested forms are a part of this concept is primarily because they have some sattva to carry over the energy. That is what should be understood. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः प्रतिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण मही महिषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि।